Are the dreaded cruise line cutbacks finally coming to an end? And are cruise lines finally listening to their loyal cruisers who have been disappointed with some of the changes over the last couple of years? Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now we are on board a cruise right now. I will share a little more about that later on in this video. However, something that I've been doing over the last few weeks is really collecting some of the cruise news information, some of the feedback from loyal cruisers, and also, well, basing a lot of this video on some of our own experiences on cruises over the last few months to a year. And yes, something that we are noticing, and there is proof of this, is that cruise lines are finally, it seems like, at least some of them, stopping some of those cruise cutbacks that have been upsetting not only loyal cruisers, but I would say even some new cruisers as well. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing information about 5 different cruise lines that seem to be reversing some of those cruise food cutbacks that really have been disappointing to many cruisers over the last year or so. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Now, I do want to mention that we are on board Holland America, Rotterdam right now. Now, while we are on board, I have noticed really a lot of very positive things, but I'm going to share that towards the end of the video. I did want to start off with one cruise line that really does seem to be listening to their cruise passengers, and in particular some of their most loyal cruise passengers, and making some changes that honestly, well, a lot of people have been talking about in social media and elsewhere, and that is Celebrity Cruise Line. Now, by the way, I should mention we did go on Celebrity Beyond in January of 2023. I did a review on my channel, loved the cruise ship, but I definitely had noticed and commented in that video that we had noticed, well, a quality of the cruise line food really not being what we had expected based on past Celebrity cruises. But in recent cruise news, the Celebrity president had shared that she was on board a Celebrity cruise ship with her team. They actually evaluated all of the dining on the cruise ship, and they tended to agree with some of the feedback that some cruise passengers had in terms of perhaps not having enough variety and not having the kind of choices that they would like to see in the main dining room and elsewhere. And well, they have said that they are going to be making some changes. They're bringing back, if I'm not mistaken, some of the classic items that would have been on the menu. They are adding in more interesting dessert options. Now, we're actually going to be sailing on Celebrity Ascent in the new year, so I'm anxious to see what it will really be like. If you've been on Celebrity lately, especially since any changes might have been made, please let me know down in the comments below. Okay, so now let's talk about Princess. Princess has been one of our favorite cruise lines, and like a lot of other cruise lines, we had noticed some changes over the last couple of years. However, I very happily reported in a video during the month of August or September perhaps that we were on board Enchanted Princess, and we were very impressed with the quality of food and actually the presentation, the choices, and we had seen quite a big improvement. But it wasn't just anecdotal evidence. Princess actually has hired Rudy Sodeman, who is now the head of culinary arts. He was on board during that cruise. He really showed how a lot of the presentations for the foods, well, basically a lot really is being revamped. And I really did appreciate the fact that that Princess was putting so much effort into their cruise food. For me, that is a big part of what I enjoy on a cruise, and the food was definitely an improvement over the previous year. And please let me know if you've sailed with Princess. If you have noticed this, please let me know down in the comments below. Now, of course, every cruise line is different, and we have premium cruise lines and we have contemporary cruise lines. So what people like best on a cruise can really vary. However, another really positive thing that we had noticed is on Norwegian Cruise Line. Based on a cruise that we had done with Norwegian early on in the pandemic, we had found that some of the food quality, in particular in terms of the meat, well, just really wasn't what it was before. And I do think that a good part of that was because during the pandemic, there were really, I think, some supply issues. And this is really something that we saw across the board on cruise lines, but also, you know, in restaurants at home. And we really did notice on our recent cruise on Norwegian Pearl how good the food was. Now, while for loyal cruisers, people have been cruising for many years, there definitely have been some changes that have been noticed, including the prices really increasing for many cruise vacations. I do think that these are really positive changes, things that are moving in the right direction. Carnival. If you are a Carnival cruise lover, then you have probably heard that Carnival has actually changed up their main dining room menus. Now, while we were on board Carnival Venezia, we were still on the older menu. So I really can't comment on this, but I do think that this is really something positive. I have heard a lot of good feedback. And again, if you have sailed on Carnival since they have changed some of those menus, please let me know your feedback, good or bad, in the comments below. One thing that I'm happy with is the fact that cruise lines do seem to be listening to the feedback that they are hearing from guests. And I think that in itself is a positive move. Okay, so now for the cruise that we are on. And by the way, I apologize that I'm wearing sunglasses during this video. My eyes were really bothering me otherwise. So we're on board Holland America Rotterdam now. This is our third Holland America cruise. So I really can't speak to how Holland America dining was or any other things before the pandemic. We started to cruise with Holland America about a year ago. And I can say this has been our best food experience yet. The presentation has been amazing in the main dining room. We're also eating in Club Orange. It's been fabulous. And as well in the specialty restaurants, and the food quality has been excellent as well. And something that really has impressed me is the buffet. The wide amount of choices that are so beautifully presented in the buffet, it really has not gone unnoticed based on myself as well as many other cruise passengers that are on this cruise ship. There are even so many different varieties of fruit that are out, varieties of different kinds of food. In part, this is what really spurred me on to make this video. I was chatting with my husband Frank and son Ethan, and we were really talking about how there have been so many different changes in cruising, you know, in particular since the restart, and a lot of it over the last year or so hasn't felt that positive. But we're finally starting to see what we think is really a reversal in some of the cutbacks that are affecting the quality, or were affecting the quality of cruises. And I think this is a positive. Now, I'm not talking about every cruise line here, but I am specifically talking about some of the cruises that we have done most recently, and some of the cruise lines that have really been in the news for some of the changes that they have made. Now, I would love to hear from you. Please let me know your feedback. If you've been on a cruise anytime within the last year, has it been better or worse? And in particular, if you're going on a cruise in the next little while, please let me know what cruise ship and what cruise line you will be going on, as well as any concerns that you have. Now, I hope that you enjoyed this video and discussion. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.